So the first one I thought I kind of briefly mentioned it last week, and and so I kind of like it. It's a neighborhood yoga event at your open house. Now I do need to preface this. You obviously need to make sure that the seller's on board with it, and you probably might want to make sure that insurance is going to cover something that anything happens. So that's my my disclaimer there.
Yeah.
But hey, what a great idea! Partner with a yoga studio. Find a yoga studio that would like to kind of market into the business or into the neighborhood. I'm sure they would be willing to come and do something complimentary. Obviously, make sure that there's plenty of room in the house. Probably not wanting to do a studio type apartment. Vacant listings would be ideal. Invite the yoga instructor to come to the open house, and it benefits them for the marketing purpose. And then just go around and invite moms for yoga and coffee. I've never heard of it. I've never seen it. I don't do yoga. And if I did do yoga, what?
That's surprising to me.
Really? You can't put your ankles behind your neck?
Oh, no, there's a lot of things I can't do.
No, I just like the concept, crazy open house ideas, because there's no right or wrong answer here per se. It's only wrong if you check with a broker and the broker tells you it's wrong. But other than that, so here's the thing.
Should I say, make sure everybody understands I'm not a broker?
Please.
Sure.
I'm not a broker.
Okay. Thank you. So at least not the one that delegated authority, right? Okay. So the big point here is maybe it evolves around your client even. Maybe the seller themselves, if they're big into yoga or they're big into something else, they could, you could use them to select the facility or things like that. Maybe they're into baseball. Maybe they're into something else. I don't know. But get creative. This is pretty creative. I like the yoga. Now, Nick, you and your wife kind of specialize in this kind of stuff, don't you?
Well, yeah, we do a lot of fitness for families and moms and things like that. I don't know if she'd want to teach a yoga class at Mike's open house, but we can talk to her. You have to.
But there would be
Mikey.
Bloody Marys.
That's a problem. Yeah.
So what I like about this idea is thinking outside the box. Yeah. Looking at a listing, trying to highlight what that listing's one of the draws for it. If it's a luxury kitchen, doing some kind of an open broker kitchen cooking class where they bring in a chef and they get to do something like that. It's outside the box ideas, especially when you have maybe a higher end listing that's not moving as quickly. These are some fun ideas you can have. Now, again, talking to a broker is number one. Making sure that your seller is set up and okay with it is probably 1B, and insurance is probably 1C. But these are really cool things. And we hear agents say that I'm not, the listings I'm moving, I'm not having showings. Again, what are you doing different from everybody else with 25,000 listings sitting on a marketplace to bring eyeballs in?
And if you want to get more listings in that neighborhood, this is also a super way to do it, because you can invite the people in the neighborhood solely. Yeah. So it's not like you're inviting strangers.
That's exactly what the whole point is, inviting just the neighbors only. Yeah. Like walking around and just saying, hey, Tuesday morning from 9 to 10:30, yoga and coffee.
What's the worst thing that happens? The client finally figures out she's got friends and decides not to move. No.
What about like a petting zoo?
Well, you could do
see those at the birthday. Yeah,
you could do a goat
yoga.
So,
I wouldn't do that inside, or I wouldn't do the puppy yoga inside. But I've seen at kids' birthday parties where they have these traveling petting zoos.
Oh yeah,
that'd be awesome. I think kids would love to come.
We're going into the wrong time unless the garage is air conditioned. But
Well, that's why, again, I think you're picking what the best part of the listing is, and then you're going to highlight that specific thing.
Exemplify it.
Yeah. All right, next one.
That's a good one.
We talked about this neighbor survey. I love this. We are, I'm a big proponent of inviting the neighbors. You'd mentioned last week, the 5 to the right, the 5 to the 10 across the street. I think that's the bare minimum. For me, if you're handing out and you're doing an inviting, whether you knock on their door or not, I think you're inviting at least 100 people to an exclusive portion of the open house. This is before the general public open house. And so we're always looking for creative ways to connect with the neighbors and to invite the neighbors. And where I like this idea, because I'm really just, I remember the last 2 open houses I did. And when I went around and I was inviting the neighbors, it was so different now that everybody has these Ring doorbells, and nobody wants to talk to you, and they just kind of ignore you, and And so, looking for that right angle. And I love this is, hey, my name is Mike. I'm doing an open house around the corner. And I'm doing a survey to help your neighbors sell their house. I'm doing a survey to help kind of understand the neighborhood. Would you mind if I ask you 3 quick questions? And so I did this. I threw this into ChatGPT, even though I've just said I've gotten into a big verbal altercations with it this weekend. But I put in there, I'm a real estate agent and wanting to connect with neighbors at open houses. Provide me 3 survey questions I can ask door to door. They were fantastic. So I would take a picture of this right now or write it down. And you just, you don't want to say, hey, I gotta, you're not part of the Census Bureau.
Yeah.
Where you're going to be there 30 minutes. But if they open the door and you're having a quick conversation, then you have the invite them to the open house.
So Leslie Del Maestro helped my wife with this over at American Title Service. And she basically provided my wife with 100 email addresses of the people who live around the property that she was holding open. And there's a canned spam thing we have to be careful of. So you got to make sure there's a opt out in there. But you're just really noticing it's a public service. You're noticing in a general mailing that you're telling people there's going to be an open house. But Mike, what Leslie recommended to her was that she does it kind of HGTV-ish. In other words, she's offering them an opportunity for a preview prior to the open. You just said it. Prior to the open house, special for people that live in the neighborhood. And I thought, well, could you put in there that you're going to offer free home evaluations for people that come? And she looked at me and she goes, "You're going to wreck it." She says, "Don't put anything else. Just invite these people to be nosy Neds and looky loos and stuff." And my wife had like 36 people show up.
I mean, buzzwords are important. Exclusive, neighbors only. We're only doing this at this certain time of the weekend. But Mike, you had made the comment last week about the Ring doorbell, and I'm still surprised I don't see people doing this. You hit the button on the Ring doorbell, and it starts recording. People will go back most of the time and see who was standing at their door. So if you hit the doorbell and you don't wait for them to answer, you assume they're not. Hey, this is Nick Wiedekamp. I'm holding an open house a couple doors down. I'm doing an exclusive neighbors only open house from this time to this time on Saturday afternoon. I'd love to invite you and your family to come on down. Again, it's this house. Here's the address. Come on down from this time to this time. Again, it's only for neighbors, so we're just having a few people coming by. We'd love to see you. And then you walk down the road. And if they answer in the middle of it, awesome, because maybe they tuned in and they heard what you said. If they don't, you've now left the message. Still doing what Lynn did, which is brilliant, getting the email. So now you're doing it twice. You're hitting them in 2 different capacities. You are going to fill up that open house. Now you've got a whole bunch of neighbors walking away telling their friends, this house is going up for sale. I'd love to have you be a neighbor. You should come check it out.
And they say, hey, I saw this really crazy thing. Some realtor sent me this thing and wants me to go preview their open house. You want to go with me? It's just somebody else.
This creep's inviting me to yoga.
Yoga Tuesday at 9 o'clock.
Yeah, I would say though, if you're, I like that. I would just say, and you may disagree with me, but I would say if you're going to knock on doors and stuff like that, avoid the name tags, avoid the logo shirt, because you want a shot, and don't carry around a clipboard because everybody's going to think that
They'll
you're
take
selling
pictures.
So carry around a puppy or a baby.
Yeah.
No, I mean, my neighborhood takes a picture and says, hey, FYI, there's a guy with a clipboard walking at this road. And then everyone he was at this point at 4:15. Now he's at this house at 4:30, and they track him. So, yeah, I don't know if you want to be that
Welcome
person.
to next door.
Yeah.
The Gladys Kravitzes of the neighborhood.
All right, and then we mentioned this. I like this Ask ChatGPT, and we're going to have to change it to Claude because but at your open houses, have your laptop up with ChatGPT open and just play a game. Let's ask, what questions are on your mind right now about your house, about your neighborhood? Are you interested in this neighborhood? Let's see what ChatGPT has to say about this. Let's see what ChatGPT has to say about these options. Here's all the specs of this house. Let's put it in there. How does it compare to other stuff? And just people just have a sign that says Ask AI, right? And just let them have fun with it. And wherever the conversation goes, you ask AI.
Yeah, you know what? That's probably one of the best.
And you don't have to ask a broker.
Universal. Well, you have to have a disclosure for sure. But, it's just one of these things where it's a gimmick. It's really just to ask AI. I love it. I think it's a great idea. It's out of the box, but it's not specific like a yoga party or, sushi rolling or, a dinner party. it's just got universal exposure. I think it's a good idea.
I would want some guardrails set up in the prompt. We had Q on the podcast a month or two ago. He had created a pretty fantastic GPT that set guardrails around fair housing, making sure there was context in the responses when the questions were being asked. I think that would be
fun.
a little bit better. I do have the brokers have my cell phone, and my phone has been vibrating fairly aggressively, so I have to assume all of them are a little nervous of what we're saying. So I'm just going to throw that disclaimer out there.
Well, we started the whole thing today with crazy open house ideas, and we said once you come up with one,
please
run
call
it
the
by your
brokers.
broker.
Yeah,
They just
run everything by.
They're
your
getting a
broker.
lot of calls today.
All right. So if you're watching this live, this may be the only time that you see this. So
Take a screenshot.
so consider yourself just.
Not the opinions of the broker.
All right. Well, that's our 3-pack. Let me see if my phone's been blown up. Well, maybe no broker. So no, I'm good. All right.
Perfect.